What's going on, everyone? Riley here, and today I'm going to be reviewing the first volume of Otherworldly Izakaya Nobu from Udon Entertainment. Stay tuned. So as I mentioned, today we're going to be talking about the first volume of Otherworldly Izakaya Nobu, or I'm just going to be calling it Nobu from here forth for simplicity. Now, Udon Entertainment reached out to me recently. They were very kind and asked if I wanted to do a couple reviews on some books that they have in their shop. And I said, yeah, let me choose a couple things that I've, not read before or have interest of that look like they're going to be working well for my channel. And this was one that I had never heard of before, which is kind of why I wanted to choose it. I wanted to choose something that I had no knowledge of. So I chose that, and it looked like something that was very kind of up my alley as far as I like to read a lot of action stuff, but I also like more wholesome things. The series that are kind of easy to be a mood lifter or easy to relax to. It's nice to have a book that after a hard day of working or a hard day of doing whatever you've been doing, that you can lay down and just read a few chapters of and help you to relax before you end your day and go to sleep. Which is what I actually wound up doing the past couple weeks. I was on a work trip and I brought a lot of books with me, as I am wont to do, and this was one of them, and it was something that helped me to wind down my day for a couple days at the beginning of my trip as I was reading this book. So just a little bit of information. The book itself is actually based on a series of light novels. I found this out after I read the first volume. I did a little bit of research. So it's actually based on a light novel, and this is the first volume of the series of that. It is from the original story by Natsuya Semikawa, and the manga adaptation is from Virginia Nitohei, with characters designed by Kururi. So the series itself follows this restaurant, Nobu, which exists in kind of this European town. I'm going to show some of the interior colored artwork. There's some really nice colored art from the inside of this volume, showing a lot of the characters that appear in this volume and some who haven't appeared in the series just yet. So the restaurant Nobu is in this European town, and it's a town that has a big military presence. And so we see a bunch of soldiers and stuff who wind up becoming patrons to the restaurant. Now, the restaurant is a Japanese-style restaurant, of course, and there's a lot of food in there that's not familiar to these European people, these European soldiers who wind up going in there. Now, inside the restaurant, we have the chief, who is the chef, and we have Shinobu, who is like the hostess. She's the one that brings everyone to their table, she takes the orders, all that good stuff. And everyone that comes in there, they have kind of different expectations. And that's the very first chapter plays with this, with having someone who's visited the restaurant before kind of introduce a friend of his to the restaurant, saying, how great everything is here, how great the food is. And it's stuff that, like I said, they've never tried because it's from a different culture than what they're used to. And there's a little, kind of comedy to it as well. It's fun and it's wholesome, and it has a little bit of comedy aspect throughout the series, at least throughout this first volume that I've read. In the first chapter, he says, we have to order a what's on tap. And they call, it's what is on tap. You order a drink at a bar, give me what's on tap. But they're treating it as if that's the name of this item, what's on tap, which is kind of humorous. So they order 2 what's on taps, and I guess they have never had, a beer or anything before. And so they're like, oh man, this is so good. It's cold and it's great and it goes well with the food, blah, blah, blah. And they eat some edamame peas, that you pull out of the actual sleeve, I guess, and they love that. And then so they wind up getting a bunch of different food and stuff, and it's something that I really enjoy in manga. I am a big fan of food manga, and I've read a bunch of food manga like Food Wars, but this is not such the shonen type thing with action-packed scenes and stuff like that as Food Wars is. This is a much more relaxed type book. It's a more wholesome, almost slice of life type of story, which I really love. Those slice of life stories are exactly what I'm talking about, with something that I can just relax to after a long day. And this is exactly that. It's very set in reality, in that the food that they're preparing is not like something, for instance, Delicious in Dungeon or Drifting Dragons, which both series have those action elements to them, but wind up focusing a lot on the cooking as well. But the cooking winds up being fictional food, meat from dragons, and then vegetables from and meat from various monsters in the dungeon that they run across in Delicious in Dungeon. Here it's very based on real food, reality-based dishes. And it's really fun to see that because I love food. I love food quite a bit. My wife and I will travel to different states, to different cities, to different countries even, to try different foods, to add to our palate. And it's stuff that we're always excited about. And it's really exciting for me to see a series that gives me a realistic look of the cuisine that is from another country. Some stuff that I have tried and a lot of stuff that I haven't tried. So it gives me this idea, you know, oh man, if I go to a Japanese restaurant soon, I'd love to order that dish. So each chapter features some of these different characters who visit the restaurant, Nobu. And they have different expectations. I mentioned, you know, the first chapter with the guys who come in there and just are having a good time ordering what's on tap and ordering their dishes. But then you have, for instance, and there's some character diagrams and stuff on the back, you have a noble who brings his niece who's very picky, and she says, you know, I need this dish, and it can't be this, and it can't be that, and it can't be this, but it also has to be this, but it has to be this, and it has to be this. And they believe that there's this challenge to making the restaurant prepare the right food for them, you know, that they're going to fumble and not be able to produce something, and then eventually they wind up producing the right thing. And you get that reaction, which is one of my favorite parts about food manga, is the reaction that people have to trying these dishes, because a good creator, a good mangaka can really make that visceral enough that you will kind of feel that reaction that they're having, that you will understand that reaction that they're having to that food, to that dish. And that's something that's really well done in Nobu. I feel like reading that, I could have that same reaction that those patrons to the restaurant were having. So each chapter, there's 6 chapters in this book, focuses on different patrons to the restaurant and their different dishes that they're ordering, or the different challenges that they present to the chef to wind up, you know, having them prepare a dish that satisfies whatever they're looking for. And it's very, you know, fun. Every chapter you get that nice different look at stuff. I had a really good time with this first volume, and I am looking forward to trying out more volumes of Nobu. I think there's 5 or 6 volumes of the series out, and I'm really interested in seeing what happens as the series goes forward, because on top of having that very like anthology style of releasing, you know, every chapter is a single isolated story, there is the overarching story about the restaurant, the chief, and Shinobu, where in that it's called Otherworldly Izakaya, it seems that this restaurant has some sort of otherworldly presence about it. And it's teased in this first volume, but nothing's really given away, but it seems like this restaurant might exist on another plane. The way that it seems when people talk about, you know, it seems like this popped up overnight, this wasn't here before, stuff like that. Or if Shinobu needs to leave to go get ingredients, it seems like she goes through a portal to another world to find these ingredients when she comes back. So there's something going on with this restaurant, and it leads towards, you know, on top of having the nice and relaxing plot between every chapter and these new characters that come into the restaurant with their own orders and demands, we have that overarching plot that gives kind of a mystique behind it, where you want to continue reading to find out, like, well, okay, well, what's going on with that? So I definitely want to continue reading and seeing what's going on with this series, with Nobu. I had a great time with it. If you're a fan of food series, of slice of life series, and if you're a fan of wholesome, lighthearted series, then this is definitely one that I'd recommend. And Udon has such great presentation with their books. We've got the nice, you know, inner flaps on there. Provides for a larger scene from the cover, so I really like that. It's a great looking, you know, slightly oversized edition. It's larger than the standard size of manga, all the stuff that I have behind me. And it has a cover price of $12.99. Now, they were also gracious enough to give me a discount code, so if you are interested in buying anything from Udon's online store, you can buy Nobu, you can buy other things. They have a ton of different selection of like Street Fighter books. Even on their store, if you're interested in buying, they have variant covers to a lot of their series that come out in single issues. Now, if you buy $25 worth of merchandise from the Udon store, from the Udon shop online, then you will get $5 off if you use the code SHOPOMNIBUS. I'll put it down on here. I'll put it down below. I'll put it on the page here, but Shop Omnibus is the code. So definitely check out the Udon Entertainment shop online. Look through all their stuff. They have manga, they have Western comics, they have single issues, like I was saying, art books, all kinds of stuff that you can use this code for. $5 off of an order of $25 or more. So save that money, get something cool. I definitely recommend Otherworldly Izakaya Nobu. If you haven't tried it out yet and it sounds entertaining to you, then it's definitely something that you should pick up. I'll have another review of an Udon book coming up soon. I'm excited to talk about Rose of Versailles. So definitely check back in if you're interested in hearing me talk about that one. If this is your first time checking out my channel, thank you so much for tuning in. I do videos every week about manga and also about Western comics. So if you're interested in either side of the comic fandom, then definitely continue to check out my videos. Hit that subscribe button down below. Give this one a like if you enjoyed it. If you've been in my channel before, you've been around for a little while, thank you so much for checking this one out. I appreciate you guys as always. And I will see you guys on the next one. Stay healthy, stay safe, peace out.